trying to take that course and doing my normal 9 to 5 was just impossible for me. And at a point I was like, if I keep going like this, 2020 is going to end and I won't learn this thing. And I needed to make it my priority, and I told myself I needed to leave this job.
Hi everybody, welcome to this podcast. My name is Jide and I have here with me Kachi. Kachi, how are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Yeah, so I've known Kachi for a while. I just thought to bring her on this conversation because my aim for this conversation is actually that we can bring creatives together and hear their story, be inspired by it, and I also hope that we find the empowerment that we need in our own creative journeys also. So Kachi is somebody that I've worked with before. We used to work in an agency, and then I remember there was this day you were speaking about human-centered design. You know, I'm just like, who is this tech babe in ad agency? You know, but something happened one day, and it was just like Kachi is leaving in the middle of pandemic, where some people were trying to fight for their own jobs. Kachi left company to stay at home, watching tutorials. Or what were you doing?
Yeah, actually, I was learning into the product design.
Tell us more about it.
Okay, so that was around, I think that was around August 2020. I mean, before then, I've always wanted to be a product designer, but I didn't know how to get started. So I had already made a couple of friends who were product designers, and I was talking to them, and they recommended like some courses that I should take and all that. I know I paid for Interactive Design Foundation, the course, in January, right? But you know how agency work is, you never get time to do like personal stuff. So we work really late, and then pressure, and even over the weekend, if you're not working from the office, you still have works to do at home. So trying to take that course and doing my normal 9 to 5 was just impossible for me. But I was scared because, just like I said, it was most of the pandemic. Like, people were losing their jobs, people's salary were being slashed, we were on lockdown. Like, it was a crazy time.
Because I was going to ask you, who was the motivational speaker that called?
No, really. Like, I remember telling my mom that, I want to quit my job. I explained to her, and she was like, yeah, I don't think that's a good decision. I was like, I know you're going to say this, but I've made some plans. So before I submitted my resignation letter, I already saved like 3 months of my salary. So my aim was, and I told myself, Kachi, we're going to learn this thing in 3 months. I didn't know how it's going to happen, but we're going to learn this thing in 3 months, because at the end of 3 months, your savings would have been gone. And you're going to die of hunger if you don't learn. So I needed to put something at the end of that learning. So that was my motivation. So the fear of going hungry was my exact motivation for saying, I need to learn this other 3 months. And what I did was, I'd already paid for that course. So I made sure that I paid for all the courses that I needed to pay for before leaving, so that I would need to dip hands into my savings. And then after I left, the next 3 months, I created a timetable. You know the way you have timetable in secondary school, first period, second period. I created that, and I was like, okay, first 2 hours, I'll start by 9. I'll take this course for 2 hours. I'll take the next one for the next. So I created a timetable like that, and I needed to be disciplined, because again, at the end of these 3 months, if I don't have anything to prove, it's like, it's going to be a problem. And I think for me, that was what kept me disciplined. And also in terms of my savings, I was paying myself salary.
Wow.
Yeah, it was much lower than what I was earning, right? And the goal for me was, I spread that across the 3 months, and then I added 1 month as a buffer. So that 1 month for me was, if I get a new job, it might be I think that was when we were just coming out of, there was the hint of we're coming out of COVID, or you're still wearing your nose mask. I was like, if I get a job, it might be a come to the office job. That time, working from home was not it was new. I think the first time we did work from home was COVID, so it wasn't it's not like now it's a norm. And I was like, my job might be one that requires me to go to office, so I'm going to need money that will sustain me for that first month that I'm working before I get. So I spread everything like that, and I had to cut off every form of expenses that were not necessary. So taking Uber, or just eating out, like ordering online, all those, even my data. I had to be very careful of my data consumption.
From I think I'm going to leave my job, you get to actually living it. How long did it take you to plan and execute?
So I would say I started thinking. So in February 2020, I spoke at Social Media Week on redesigning like food delivery experience. So it was a product design talk on human-centered design and all those stuff. And after that talk, it just dawned on me, like, this thing is actually interesting. You get, maybe you should do this. Like, I think it was that point that I started to take intentional steps towards like leaving agency, doing advertising, and then going into product design. So it was at that point that I started to plan and just be more intentional about that thought. I should say that it was God that really helped, because I was just planning like human trade, and I was just praying to God that please, at the end of these 3 months,
don't let me be disappointed. What if I don't get another job? That was really a lot of courage and boldness, Kachi.
Yeah.
Now, looking at your journey to making that decision to do product, I'm happy that it's not like you jumped into product because that was where the money is, or you want to be a tech sales.
Funny enough, right? At that time, product design was not really. It wasn't really a big deal. Not like it wasn't a big. It wasn't something that people would say really rushing into then, because at that time there were internships, like you could see product design internships. We didn't have like high influx of people wanting to learn product design, and the whole get into tech, there's money, it wasn't really the news as at that time I went into it, right? So the whole there's money in tech wasn't really obvious yet, right? I think it was after the pandemic that everybody started, oh, there's money in tech and all those things. But for me, it was more like I felt I would have more impact, right, in product design. I felt like I was going to do work that was going to touch people's lives, work that was going to help businesses grow, help people. Like, do you know the joy when you transfer money from? I've been in a situation where everything depends on this transaction being successful, and then that transaction works, and you're just like, God, thank you. And then you just, in your heart, you just say 1 minute prayer for whoever worked together. Like how you thanked whoever created you to together.
Yeah.
Like, so that it gives a different kind of joy, you get, and that was really what.
Are you saying that advertising doesn't give?
Oh, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying at all. It's just that for me, I felt like I could do more, right? I could do more, but at that point, I didn't know how advertising was going to give me that more that I was looking for, you guys. And we had amazing people doing awesome works that were submitted at Cannes. We had people we're really doing amazing. But for me, I needed to do more. And maybe because I was also working in digital, right? Maybe if I was in traditional, where you design for OH and all the stuff, but I was in digital, right? And I just like, I don't want to always be designing for social media every day. I want to do something more, you get. So that was like the major push for me.
I think at the end of the day, every creative is looking for that sense of fulfillment. Knowing if we like our job or not is based on answering how fulfilled am I on that job, right? Yeah. How meaningful is it to me? And also, like, is this something I want to do in the long run? I remember a friend asking me one time, and that was actually a very powerful question. It was just so simple. And he said, Jide, how do you want to feel about your job in 5 years' time? Understand? Like 5 years' time, if you look at the job you are doing, how do you want to feel? What I'm doing right now, is this really what I want to be doing? And at the end of the day, I think it's about finding meaning, right? And being secured in the quality of work and the quality of impact you are making. Just like you said, you were looking for an opportunity to make more impact.
Yeah.
Right. Now, in terms of also having that sense of job security, and stable income, that security that comes from that. Did it ever cross your mind that, Kachi, what if I never got a job?
I think for me, we are currently in a world where people's identities are tied to their jobs, people's sense of worth. It's not like our parents' generation where work was work, home was home, family was family. Now everything is all modeled together, and a lot of people's sense of being successful, being whoever they are, is tied to their job. So that if you take out the job, there might be no personality left, right? So because of that, it has become like really important for people now to do the jobs that they love. You're not just doing it now for doing sake. And I think when people talk about how this generation is so obsessed with doing a job you love, mental health, I'm like, because times have changed, right?
True.
I mean, I go to bed sometimes and in my dream I'm designing. I don't know if it happens to you. In my dream I'm designing, or in my dream I'm thinking of an idea for. If I was just doing a job that I don't care about, there won't be that emotional attachment, right? So for me, it was important that whatever job that I'm doing is something that I'm happy with, right? And just like you said, if the product design did not work, I would have left it. I have this ideology that we're not trees. If something is not working, change it. If when you're going to there's no road there, make a turn. Like I think maybe because I'm so, what's the word? I'm so used to that whole if something is not working turn. I studied economics, right? And then in my final year something happened and I couldn't go back to school. So I deferred my final year. And it was within that 1 year that I was at home doing nothing that I learned graphic design. And then I went back to school and I remember telling my mom that, well, this economics I'm doing, I'm just to graduate, but I don't see any future with this economics. I've changed. And then they just looked at me like, is this kid okay? And I was like, because I've seen something better, right? But some people will struggle with, oh, what are people going to say? I've invested so much time. And I think it's human enough.
Yeah.
But for me, I consider what I love, what is working, right? If I don't love it, if it's not working, I'm going to change. So if product design did not work, I was going to find another thing else. So even as I am now, if what I'm doing now stops working, you look for another option. I think that's how human beings get better. And if we allow ourselves to become so emotionally attached to who we have always been, then it becomes difficult to try new things and also like get better.
I think that's being flexible and embracing change. I think it's very important, and that's just what happens in life. One time typists were like the big deal.
Yeah.
And then I think probably moved to secretary.
Yeah.
And then like I'm not sure we get to complain and we are seeing secretary at the reception.
Sure.
And all of that, and being able to adapt to the times, to the seasons, and embrace the change. I think it's important. And also talking about doing what you love, it reminds me of my story, right? Because I think one of the decisions I've made in my life, right, that I wake up to and I say I'm grateful, right, is the fact that I choose the creative path, right? Because I wanted to be an artist. I don't know exactly what I want to be because of my tendency to be multi-potentialite. Right? I knew I could do a lot of things. I was singing. I was already acting drama in church. So I felt like maybe I would be, an actor, and something, And then I was already drawing. I used to have this, big, popular artist in my area. I would walk to his studio and just be there for hours, asking him questions, watching his process, so I could do a lot of things. But I knew I wanted to study art.
Yeah.
And I remember that talking to people, when I say I want to do art, it looks like
oh my God, exactly.
we have lost a legend.
Like you're too smart.
No, I'm not saying exactly.
That was the norm. Like then, to be honest. So after secondary school, my mom has this thing where every holiday she allows us, or she is mandatory, you learn one skill. So it might be how to cut hair or how to braid or how to sew. You must learn a skill. So after my work, right, I told her I wanted to learn how to draw and paint. She took me to there's this roadside artist, and then I was always going there. But I was going there because I was while away time. But it was weird to me that somebody will actually go to university to go and study art. I was really curious because I didn't have people within my circle hear that.
It wasn't popular. In fact, it wasn't looking this interesting when I actually did it. Right. I remember also going to an uncle to be an intern. I was learning screen printing. We cut stencil. We'll go to kiosk. All those brand logo. We'll draw everything with hand, cut it, and then dab it on the, and do merch. Pen and stationaries and all of that. And the beautiful thing is, I had a conversation with somebody. He was trying to advise me to say, you can go study something more prestigious. Yes, go study something more prestigious. Then you can come back and now say, okay, at least I have my paper. After we had that conversation, asked me what I told him. He was leaving. I had listened. I had kept quiet. I said, how about theater art? Like the look on his face was like, this guy is not getting it. Because I think what just naturally comes to me was anything around the heart.
Yeah.
Right. But I left that conversation actually thinking about it, and I thought this was at the point where I was going to make the decision whether to go to art class or go to commercial or go to science. And I remember making the decision to go to commercial.
Are you serious?
Yeah. And I was already thinking chartered accountant in my head. Okay, I took a personality test, and everything I was answering was tilting towards art. As I was answering, I knew this thing is art. I'm happy about the fact that I made this decision to be me, and I think that is something important for everybody to make sure that whatever you want to do, like at the end of the day, now it's just me. All of those people are not there. Understand? So it will be me with my however I feel about that decision and all the unfulfillment. So at the end of the day, our lives is in our hands, right? We need to make a decision regardless of if any other person believe in it or not, to make sure that we find that personal fulfillment.
Sure.
I heard you talking about some of you guys bringing you in on their projects, and stuff. How was it like?
It was us. I think I should start by saying that when I tell people that my design journey is crowdsourcing, like with a lot of people that contributed to my design career. When I was still in school, right, financial issues and all that, I wasn't able to go back for my final year. So that 1 year I spent at home, that was when I actually got into the world of design, because I was like, okay, this 1 year I have to stay at home, I have to do something with it, right? And in that moment I was like, oh, what do I learn? And eventually I settled for graphic design, not because I really understood what graphic design was, but because I had a roommate then who was in mass comm, and because of curiosity I sometimes attend mass comm classes because I just loved like the whole media, all those stuff. So we got together for those things. My mom helped me. We were able to get a printing press. That printing press, I didn't know anything, so I wasn't exactly working there, but my mom pleaded with the man that okay, let my daughter be coming here so that she can be learning and also like helping around where possible. So I usually come very early, then I'll sweep the printing press, dust everything, mop the place. Then the designers will come to work, and then I will sit down with them as they're working and all that. And if there are any errands to run, like go and buy gloss paper, go and buy art.
So you were really not doing printing press, you were more like an office assistant.
What experience did I have? I didn't have any experience. So I just needed someone that would take me in. I knew that I was going to learn if I just had somewhere that I could look, ask questions and all that. So I was more like errand girl. And to be honest, that errand girl stuff helped me, right? Because I knew like, okay, this is the kind of paper you use if you're printing for this, right? If you want the shiny kind of cover, they print it as matte and then they laminate it. So I was learning a lot of things that, when you're printing, they print, because then, I don't know if they still do it now, they print on film. There's this film that they use in printing. Then you take the film to a lithographer. Then they will pass the film to something that's like a zinc. Then you take the zinc to the printing press with your paper that you've cut.
I think 3 colors.
Exactly. Like it was so, and then the printer will mix cyan, magenta, black. So I was doing all
You really had all of those
Oh yeah, I did. I had all of them, to be honest. So it was a lot of experience for me, and I did that for like 3 months or so. And then I was gradually getting to the level where, oh yeah, Kachi, go and edit this design. I was so happy. So as time went on, and I told my mom that, okay, I want to go to a proper computer school, right?
Wait, do you still go to computer school?
So after my training there, one of my instructors saw how vested I was in the learning, and he was like, okay, we have this sort of internship stuff that we're doing in the company. Would you like to join? I was like, oh yeah. And then he was able to get me like an internship job there. Then I didn't know it was internship. Internship is a new word that was just coined. Then I don't know what we called it, but it wasn't internship. And because I had learned about the way we were doing graphic design, I was like, that means there are more possibilities, right? But because of my environment and the way design was being used, it wasn't as elaborate as I wanted it to be. So I got on Instagram. I remember opening my Instagram account. First I opened Instagram account, right? And then I would post my works. So I would design, I would just post. I wasn't doing it for branding. No, those things are personal branding. Then I was just doing it because I wanted to share my work with people. So I would design, I'll post, I'll design, I'll post. And then I started having like some people comment on it like, oh, this is nice, this is good. And I felt so good, like, oh my god, I'm designing something. And from there, I started to see other designers. So I had virtual mentors, if I should call them mentors, people that would just hit up and say, please, I know you're very busy. Just help me review this whenever you can and give feedback. And they will give me feedback and all. So all of those stuff really helped me, and that was how I got my first gig. Someone saw those things I was posting and sent me a message on Instagram like, hey, I want you to design a logo for me. The way I jumped at home, I said, have I gotten to the level where someone wants to hire me to actually? And from there, it just helped to build my confidence, and I started to put together a portfolio, and I was like, okay, I can get a job now. But also in terms of, I know when I got my first clients, and then I'm like, okay, how much do I charge this person? I've never charged someone, so I needed guidance on how to charge, how to present my work. Now the business part of design, not just design, but the business part of it, the negotiation, the design process, the whole, so all those stuff was because there were people that I could learn from, people that I could reach out from. And these people have also gone ahead to help me, because sometimes they will recommend, maybe someone reaches out to them for a job that is far lower than that. They're like, okay, I can't take this, but I know someone who will take this, and then they will just recommend. So it just goes like to show how community helps to build you as a better designer. Really, yeah.
So now that you finally got a job as a product designer, like finally got a job as a product designer, how has the experience been?
So the experience for me has been great. I have worked with awesome brands and companies and products, right? I mean, and like products that people use, they remember, oh, Kachi worked on this, right? And for me, that's really, really fulfilling. Just seeing how something you do is helping another person become better at what they do, right? So I would say like the whole product design experience has really been a great one for me.
Thank you guys for watching. I hope that it's been insightful and inspiring to you as it has been to me. A big shout out to Kachi for doing this. I hope you guys enjoy it. Please let us know what you think in the comment section. Subscribe and turn on your notification. If you know any creative that probably will learn one or two things from this, I think this is actually your call to share with them.